BBC Radio Scotland 8 on medium wave. You get us online at bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. On your smart speaker, go to BBC Radio Scotland Extra. Lots of ways to listen in, however you choose. Let's hope it's an exciting game to get us up and running this evening. Motherwell against Celtic, live on Sports Sound. The commentary comes from Pat Bonner, David Clarkson and Al Lamont.
Thanks very much, Richard. Welcome to Fir Park this Wednesday evening for the second of 4 midweek League Cup ties. Arguably the pick of the bunch as the holders Celtic look to take another step towards retaining the trophy they won last season and have won in 5 of the last 6 campaigns. Quite extraordinary. Motherwell's solitary success in the tournament came more than 70 years ago, and if that wait is not to be extended, they'll have to overcome a team they haven't beaten in the last 25 meetings. A tall order certainly, but as St Mirren showed a few weeks back, not entirely impossible. Both sides out on the immaculate Fir Park surface. I can't believe we're heading towards the end of October and there's virtually not a blade of grass out of place on that superb surface down there. A joy for those players to play on, no doubt. Celtic will relish playing on that this evening. Motherwell will hope they can make life difficult for them in other ways, as Don Robertson in his luminous orange referee shirt just pops the ball on the centre spot for Celtic to kick us off. They will be going from right to left as we look at it from the back of the main stand in their traditional green and white hoops. Motherwell left to right in their claret and amber kit. It will be Aaron Moy who has begun to establish himself as a first pick in the absence certainly of Callum McGregor, who gets us underway, and Rio Hatate fires it forward looking for his countryman Kyogo down the left channel, keeps the ball in play as Motherwell look to guard against losing an early goal, but it's Greg taken to fire the ball into the penalty area. It's hacked away by Solholm up to Kevin Van Veen. It came off Jens last, and it will be a throw into Motherwell despite Celtic's confusion down there. It will be a home side throw in, and Paul McGinn will take it midway inside his own half. Both sets of fans making plenty of noise. A real cup tie feel about this evening as Jens goes back and he makes a bit of a hash of his header. Van Veen helps it on to Shields. First opening for Motherwell, into the penalty area goes Shields. Looks to pick out a man at the back post, and it's just too high there for McKinstry. That was a real half chance for Motherwell, but Shields just couldn't execute. McKinstry gets it back into the penalty area, swept away by Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Celtic clear the danger. Ricky Lamy fit to play after an injury scare that forced them off against Rangers. He helps the ball forward. We'll get David Clarkson's view on that opening in just a minute when the ball goes dead, but Carter-Vickers knocks it back to his goalkeeper Benji Siegrist, making just his second Celtic appearance this evening, and Jens will bring it away down the left hand side and finds Taylor. Forward for Hatate, swift passing, kept in by Haksabanovic, down the left hand side up against McGinn, comes in on the right foot, twists away from McGinn, fires it across left footed and over the top from Kyogo. In fact, there will be a goal kick, or maybe even a free kick actually, for the challenge by Kyogo in there on Ricky Lamy. End-to-end stuff in the early stages. David, let's go back to that corner Shields opening. You probably should have done better. Yeah, it was a great opportunity again, kind of a bit of a long ball that Jens kind of didn't deal with, and then like we said earlier, kind of try to punish that, we get bodies going forward, and Connor does really well, try to flick out, shoot McKinstry at the back post, but just overhit it a bit. But again, that gives a wee bit of confidence to show the opportunities are there if they can kind of pick the right options. Packy Celtic looking menacing coming forward as well, but just unable to carve out the opportunity there.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pitch earlier. It's slick, it's fast, and wetted, so the ball's moving around really well on it, and it suits probably both teams, but Celtic in particular, because that's the way they like to pass the ball. They like to pass it quickly, accurately, and from quickly through 2/3 of the pitch.
There's Jens for Taylor. Really good crowd in here this evening at Fir Park as well, despite the fact that it is live on TV and radio, as well as all our other platforms. There's Cameron Carter-Vickers, the Celtic stand-in captain. He's growing into that role, plays it to Jens and forward for Taylor, just inside the Motherwell half. Now Hatate for Haksabanovic, who's looking a real threat for Celtic in recent weeks.
Yeah, he's done well, hasn't he? You know, he's now playing out here, obviously in the left. We've seen him playing sort of in the midfield area, almost inside left, but he's playing wide here on this left-hand side. He's got ability, he's got pace, he can move the ball quickly.
Here he is finding Hatate for Taylor just outside the penalty. A good challenge by Paul McGinn. It had to be, because he was right inside the box, and any mistiming of that challenge could have been a penalty kick, but he gets it clear. Motherwell won't keep that in on the far side, though. It was Matt Penny, the left back, racing forward to try and prevent it going out of play. It is a Celtic throw-in over on the far side there, right-hand side, to be taken by Josip Juranovic, but a fairly fast pace to the opening of this game, David Clarkson.
Yeah, so far it's been really intense stuff. It's been a good start for both sides, and I think it's an instance there again that if Motherwell can find that first pass when they win it back, they can put Celtic under pressure.
Taylor getting forwards again from left back, finds Moy in field, out to Juranovic on the far side, but midway inside the Motherwell half, back the way though to the halfway line to Carter Vickers, and square for Jens, who steps forward out to the left hand side for Haksabanovic, slides it forward for Taylor about 20 yards from the goal line. Again, it's Solholm coming across this time to make the challenge. Motherwell will have to be so switched on, particularly at the back, to guard against the off the ball running from Celtic, which is so impressive, so dangerous, as Taylor prepares to take the throw in. 4.5 minutes played at Fir Park. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. Taylor looking for options in this left hand side. Haksabanovic is the target, gets it back to Taylor and then back once more to the Montenegrin. Hatate tries to slip it back through for Taylor. Motherwell trying to get it clear. They have done, only half clear though. Moy picks up and now back to Juranovic. McKinstry comes out to challenge him. Ball forward from Juranovic, wasn't accurate enough. Penny though has given it away. Moy and Juranovic on the right hand side for Celtic. In from Abada, away by Lamy, and Abada will take the throw in, and Celtic looking to try and get that early goal that would give them a bit of comfort in the game. Carter Vickers on the halfway line, stepping forward, the American international, out to Abada in off the right hand side. Hatate tries to squeeze it through for Kyogo, just couldn't quite take it beyond his marker in his stride, but Motherwell struggling to clear the lines effectively. Picked up by O'Reilly. O'Reilly 25 yards from goal, tries to play it square for Moy, well read by Goss, and here come Motherwell trying to mount the counter. It's out to Shields on the halfway line, right hand side, looks to try and find the early ball for Van Veens, just overcooked it, but Van Veens offside in any event. 6 minutes in, Motherwell 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, good idea actually, just straight offside. I think he was looking for the pass a little bit earlier, just into that space in between Carter Vickers and the fullback. But he just straight offside. Just Hatate had a really good opportunity just outside Motherwell's box just about a minute ago. He's a great ball.
Great ball from Kyogo. Abada released into the middle. It goes. It'll come for Haksabanovic, left hand side of the penalty. Tries to get the shot away. McGinn stands up to it well. Blocks the initial effort. Comes back to Haksabanovic. Taylor in support. Cuts it back towards goal. It comes from O'Reilly. Didn't get a hold of the shot. Away by Lamy. Motherwell survive. 0-0.
That was a brilliant pass from Kyogo. Just out into the middle of the pitch and almost plays a sort of kind of almost disguised pass right through the Motherwell defence for Abada. I think he tried to pick out Hatate on his cross, but it actually evaded him and went to Haksabanovic, who was just a little bit too wide.
It's Hatate looking to release Taylor inside the penalty area again. Motherwell just struggling to clear the lines. Eventually though it breaks away of Liam Kelly, and Celtic make you work for your money, don't they, David?
Yeah, I think they say the rotations of the front three and that, and the movement of them kind of causing a lot of problems, and that was a great ball through there, and kind of it was good defending in the end for Motherwell, but again it shows you the kind of quality and stuff like that. Celtic on the ball, they can cause you so many problems.
Goss for McKinstry out to the left hand side, and it's Spittle picking up back in the team after a knock against Hibs. Forced them off in that game, missed the Rangers game at the weekend, but back in the starting 11. Here is Slattery, swivels, trying to get away from Moy, goes back the way to Lamy just inside his own half, plays it square for Solholm, and out to McGinn, right hand side, checks away from Haksabanovic, back to Solholm once more, and square for Lamy. Motherwell having to go back the way just for the moment as Lamy just clips it forward, looking for Penny out on that far side, but overhits the pass straight out of play. Celtic have it moving quickly inside 8 minutes, still no goals
Yeah, there was
Park.
Motherwell trying to get a bit of possession, but you can't afford to give away the ball when you get into those positions from Lamy. He could have drilled that ball through, I think, to McKinstry. He tries a little dinky over the top and got it all wrong, and just gives the possession back to Celtic too easily.
McGinn, who started the game well up against Haksabanovic, who's such a dangerous opponent. Picked up there on the halfway line by O'Reilly. Moy plays it off Callum Slattery for a Celtic throw-in just in front of Stevie Hammell's technical area. Greg Taylor to take on the Celtic left, 8.5 minutes in. Still no goals, but both sides having opportunities to create. Celtic, certainly more of them. No test yet for Liam Kelly in the Motherwell goal. Greg Taylor still looking for options in this left-hand side. Plays it to Hattati, lovely drop of the shoulder, and then knocks the ball out to the right-hand side. Abada tries to take it before it bounced, just couldn't bring it under control, the young Israeli, and it's gone all the way through to Liam Kelly, who will pick this one up and urges his teammates forward before he launches it long over the halfway down the left-hand side. Juranovic watches the flight of it, gets it to Abada, but he's dispossessed by McKinstry, who scored that wonderful free kick. There was a split opinion as to whether he meant it or not. I certainly was giving him the benefit of the doubt. David, I'm sure you were as well.
Yeah, he meant it 100%. I spoke to him after the game and he told me that, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
It sure was a wonderful execution as Jens picks up for Celtic. Halfway line, left-hand side, Taylor forward for Hattati. Good first touch, just takes it into the path of Haksabanovic. Taylor once more in that inside area that the Celtic fullbacks like to operate in nowadays under Ange Postecoglou. Celtic coming forward now down the right-hand side. It's O'Reilly back to Jens on the edge of the centre circle. Van Veen trying to track him out to the left-hand side. He comes to Haksabanovic, tracked by McGinn. Infield to O'Reilly once more, back onto the halfway line. Jens with the first-time pass to Carter Vickers, who's got a bit of room to step forward into. Poor pass attempted by Abada, but Celtic will pick up once more, as Parky was saying. Motherwell, when they do get possession, must hold on to it a bit better. Here comes Juranovic, right-hand side, back to Carter Vickers, who will still hope to be part of that American World Cup squad. Juranovic into the penalty area. Lamy clears his lines up towards Spittle. McKinstry just outside his own penalty area, clips it forward, comes off the head of Juranovic, and Goss will just take his time, take the throw in, and Motherwell can get a bit of a breather, David.
Yeah, a bit camped in there for the last couple of minutes and stuff, and as Pat said earlier, I mentioned in possession, you can try and keep it for a bit, and if you keep kind of turning it over, you know, with the quality Celtic have got, they might pick their passes and it might be costly, so I think it's important we kind of try and keep it for a wee bit and try and frustrate them as much as we can.
I think every Motherwell fan or observer who watches them regularly has been impressed by the type of football they've been trying to play under Stevie Hammell. The bare facts are that they have lost 4 out of their last 5 games, with the win against Ross County. They're only won in 6 in total, having drawn another one in that run. David, it's easier on the eye perhaps than under Graham Alexander, but you do need to get results along the same way.
Yeah, I think the kind of performance are good, and the results have been a good start to the season. You know, last season I think they won, I think it was 2 games in 6 months, so they've won that already in the space of a few weeks.
Here they come, central area, it's Goss forward for McKinstry on the left-hand side. Penny in support outside of him. McKinstry comes in, trying to find room for the shot. McKinstry is well blocked there by a Celtic leg. It was O'Reilly who stuck his right foot out to block the shot, but McKinstry not short on confidence coming forward. Here comes Celtic on the counter. Juranovic slides it forward. Hattati, right-hand side of the penalty. Cross goal. Kyogo wide. And it's a goal kick that's awarded. I wasn't sure if he was offside, but his blushes are not spared. And from just a couple of yards, Kyogo sends it wide of Liam Kelly's left-hand post. It remains Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. Chances at both ends again.
Yeah, well, initially it was Motherwell who broke in the counter-attack and they got bodies forward. But then Celtic won it back, and right away they were back up the other end of the pitch. And it was really good, quick passing. But what a chance for Kyogo, right across. Almost about 7 yards out. He takes it on the full, just met it as the ball's coming across to him and put it a foot by the post. But that was a huge chance.
It really was. and at the other end, almost opened up for McKinstry. It was a good challenge in the end, I think, by O'Reilly to block the effort, but he certainly does look like a young man who has got a lot of confidence. As Abada keeps the ball in on the right hand side, but only knocks the ball into the arms of Liam Kelly. On loan from Leeds, Stuart McKinstry, David, you'll, I'm sure, know him well, having come through the academy here, and he does look like a player who's blossoming at the moment.
Yep, working well in academy stuff, and you could see the qualities he had and deserved his move to Leeds, and I think can even shown there the opportunity is good. He's direct, he's get forward, and that was a big chance cutting in for the left hand side on his right foot, and obviously get the block in. But again, hopefully the confidence that if they pick the right pass, there's opportunities here for them, and hopefully, you know, they can capitalise on one.
Here's McGinn down the right hand side, tracked by Taylor. I think his attempted cross came off Taylor and back off McGinn, and it's behind for a goal kick to Celtic. We've played 14 minutes, pretty pulsating stuff here at Fir Park. A couple of decent opportunities, one for either side. Kyogo certainly passing up the best of those, but it does remain 0-0 as Siegrist tries to play out from inside his own 6-yard box, closed down there by Connor Shields, and just gets away with it, and then there's a sliding challenge coming in there from McKinstry on Juranovic. Caught him late, and Don Robertson will just go across and says, just calm that down. But not sure how much contact was actually made in the end, but just got to be careful when you're sliding in at that pace these days.
Yeah, but a high press from Motherwell, really high press, 3-4 players right up in that 18-yard box and putting Celtic under a lot of pressure.
But Celtic play around the press this time, and Hatate picks up, steps away from Goss, then fires it out looking for Abada. Good challenge by Matt Penny.
Yeah, that's the danger though, you know, when you go and press 4 or 5 players and they do break the press, then you're in a bit of trouble. And Hatate that time elected to hit a diagonal, and he had a great opportunity to play a nice simple ball into Aaron Moy, who was in a great position to drive forward.
Celtic have it. Carter Vickers plays a short ball to O'Reilly, crossing the halfway line just out to the right hand side. Here's Abada. Juranovic gets a flick onto it inside the penalty area, away by Solholm. Out to the right hand side for Celtic. It's come off. Abada last will be out for a Motherwell thrown over on the far side, just over the quarter-hour mark now. No goals, but entertaining enough stuff so far, David Clarkson.
I think it's given a little boost to kind of a few early chances they've had early on, and I think we can see that in the part that, you know, they're going to press or try to get after it when they can, and they're almost hitting the counter. But on the flip side of that, when they're going, they need to kind of make sure at the back they're well organised, because they're so dangerous in the break as well, Celtic.
Certainly more attacking intent in this early period from Motherwell than there was on Sunday, where it was all really about keeping Rangers out. There was that staggering statistic that Motherwell didn't have a touch in the Rangers box in the first half, which I'm still quite astounded by. But nonetheless, they found a way to stay in the game, and I think the one negative for Stephen Hammell would be that, having got the goal back, they didn't really lay a glove on Rangers beyond that, didn't test Alan McGregor again. But still 0-0 here against the defending champions in the League Cup, Celtic. Celtic dominating possession as usual, but Motherwell holding their own as Connor Shields wins the throw-in on this near side, the Motherwell right, midway inside the Celtic half.
Yeah, good play from
McGinn.
Sorry, Al, good play by Motherwell, just, you know, passing the ball, playing the little triangles, keeping possession for a little bit, working their way up the pitch.
Here they are again, Spittle, right hand side, closed down quickly by O'Reilly, who, as I was discussing with Ange Postecoglou pre-match, really has adapted to that slightly deeper role, the one normally occupied by the skipper Callum McGregor. But O'Reilly has looked pretty comfortable, just a little bit more defensive than he has tended to have to be in his Celtic career so far. It's going to be another, in fact it's going to be a free kick, I think, to Motherwell this time. That it come off a Hatate hand there as the pass was attempted, and it will be an opportunity for Motherwell to throw the ball into the penalty area. It's midway inside the Celtic half, a couple of yards at most in from the right touchline. It is an opportunity to throw a few bodies forwards, David Clarkson, and try and get on the end of it.
Yeah, it was good build-up play there in the lead up to it, and kind of keep them in the keep Celtic in their own half and stuff, and a chance here for a set play again. That's something they'll kind of work on, and if they can try and sort something for us.
It's all about the delivery, really, isn't it? Sean Goss sends it in right onto the penalty spot, headed away by the towering Jens, picked up by Haksabanovic on the Celtic left, more or less where the free kick was taken from. It comes off Goss last, and it's a Celtic throw-in, quickly taken into O'Reilly, who tries to switch play and manages to just squeeze that through to Moy. Moy forward for Kyogo, 25 yards from goal. Goes for goal off the underside. Is the follow-up here from Abada? He can't get enough on the rebound, and it's Liam Kelly who says, what an effort from Kyogo. And I think there's an offside given as Abada tried to follow it up. He's injured himself in the process, but Kyogo from 25 yards, so unfortunate to see that come off the underside, bounce away, and Abada, I think, was offside as he tried to follow it in. It will be a free kick, and it will remain Motherwell 0, Celtic 0, but only just, Pat Bonner.
Yeah, it was brilliant play, and the ball, that switch of play as you talked about from O'Reilly, found Aaron Moy over on the right hand side, and a couple of times now Kyogo has come off the back two centre halves out into a space, and this time he was picked out brilliantly by Aaron Moy, and he opened up and he had all the time in the world to get a shot away, and it was a brilliant shot. I think Liam Kelly might have got a touch on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Jens back to his goalkeeper Benji Siegrist, who it's it first time to Carter Vickers, square to Jens. Good play out from the back from Celtic, but they're still hemmed in. Taylor has knocked that off a Motherwell boot and out of play down deep in his own territory. Almost 20 on the clock, and Celtic within centimetres of taking a lead.
Yeah, he's done that a few times now. I've noticed where, when the ball's been built up, especially from that right-hand side, Kyogo just drops off into midfield. Obviously, the Motherwell centre-halves are allowing him to go, but he gets the space then. But as soon as he opens up, then he becomes a real threat.
It's going to move to create that space as well, because you've got runners in behind, so it allows then Kyogo to drop off and create that space and give them options.
Here's Abada, right-hand side. Celtic moving forward at pace on the overlap. Juranovic cuts it back. Moy with a chance, saved by Kelly, and then cleared away by McGinn out to the far side for a throw-in, but Celtic knocking on the door. Aaron Moy, the latest to try his luck, and it was a decent save from Liam Kelly. Here comes Celtic once more inside the penalty area. Dinked in. Kyogo trying to make something of it. McGinn gets it. Hattati picks up from Moy. Haksabanovic, edge of the penalty area. Shots blocked. Motherwell clear the lines up to the halfway line. It goes, and they try and get out of their own territory. But Celtic looking dangerous just in these last few minutes as Jens picks up midway inside his own half, knocks it back to Siegrist. Motherwell surviving just by the skin of their teeth at the moment. Kyogo standing as he loves to do in that well offside position, just waiting to time his run back the way and then forward again to get the pass just at the right time. It's worked so often for him in his Celtic career, and no doubt in his career prior to coming here. He's always on the move. Out to the right hand side it goes. Celtic trying to work it into the penalty area. It comes off Matt Penny. It will be a Celtic corner almost at the midway point in this first half. Still Motherwell 0, Celtic 0.
It's a great save, William Kelly there, obviously for the effort from Moy, and again then people putting themselves in their bodies on the line, which might be a theme for the game, but a bit more structure kind of to try and limit the many chances Celtic have had recently.
Yeah, putting bodies on the line has got to be the way of things for the opposition against Celtic. Otherwise, it's going to end up something like it did on Saturday for Hibernian. Try as they might, they couldn't get the bodies in the way. Celtic corner, right-hand side, swept in to the edge of the 6-yard box. It was McGinn that got something on it, but took it back towards his own goal. Bouncing around just outside the penalty, it comes O'Reilly. Did he handle it there? That was a claim from some of the fans, certainly a couple of the players also, but Don Robertson didn't see it that way, and play continues with Celtic in possession. It's Jens out to the left-hand side for Hattati. It's just a chase to get the touch on it, but here he is, 15 yards from the goal line, left-hand side, into the penalty area. It goes to Moy. Moy looking to find room for the pass. Oh, he's dinked that through, and it was Taylor who's just tried to squeeze it across goal, eventually off a Motherwell boot again, and a corner it will be this time on the Celtic left, and they very much are looking for that opening which will bring about the first goal.
Yeah, it's a movement off the ball, isn't it? You know what I mean? when Celtic have the ball, it's that quick, sharp movement is causing Motherwell a few problems.
Haksabanovic, left-hand side to take the corner, right-footed in towards the near post, comes off the head of Connor Shields. Motherwell body hits the deck inside the penalty area. Don Robertson sees an infringement, and it will be a free kick and a chance for Motherwell just to get their breath back, because they have been under the cosh for the last 5 minutes or so. David Clarkson.
Yep, it'll be an opportunity here, kind of take their time and stuff and try and regroup a bit, because they've run a good bit of pressure there for the last 5-10 minutes or so, and again, it's trying to get a foothold in the game. They're going to expect that playing against Celtic. The quality they've got, they're going to need to defend for their lives, and Celtic create opportunities. It's then how they deal with that and still try and create a bit going forward.
Free kick taken by Motherwell skipper Liam Kelly, who's played every game this and last season. He's been an excellent buy, you'd have to say, since initially joining on loan from QPR. Motherwell again trying to press Celtic high, and they managed to win it back. Shields across, got a big chance for McKinstry. The offside flag is up this time.
I think it's a goal kick, actually.
Was it gone out of play before Connor Shields got it into the penalty area? Well, either way, it's good news for Stuart McKinstry, who really should have been burying that opportunity. But as you were saying, David Clarkson, Celtic, when they are pressed high like that, if they're caught out, then it will present opportunities for Motherwell. Yeah,
they're trying to build again, and it's good pressure then from Motherwell, kind of putting a bit of pressure on them, standing back and letting them build, and I think they can see the rewards if they do that and they get it right. Of course, get the rewards. Stewart again is offside, but he had all the time in the world there actually to take a touch, and fortunately for Celtic he was offside anyway, but he put it over the bar.
And the goal was gaping at the back post after Connor Shields got it in. I think Paki might be right. It didn't look like anyone was offside in the move. I think the ball being over the goal line before Shields cut it across goal is perhaps a more likely answer. But,
yeah, it was just over the line. He could have a little bit quicker. He might have got there, but it was an opportunity. I think to be fair to McKinstry, when it comes to something like that, he has to take it first time, hasn't he? Really, because otherwise the goalkeeper probably would be out on top of him.
Yeah,
and that because it comes in so quickly and it's kind of almost bounce, and he has to take it almost on the half volley.
Either way, Celtic got away with it slightly there, having been the dominant side in the opening 25 minutes, which are somehow goalless. Chances at either end. Kyogo coming closest with a shot off the underside of the bar, as well as slipping a shot wide earlier when you would have put money on him to score. Here's Jens on the halfway line, plays it square for Carter Vickers. Steps forward and then plays it to Juranovic, then Hatate out to the right hand side for Abada, slips it back to Hatate, right hand side of the penalty, tries to fire it across goal, comes off Ricky Lamy, and it will be another Celtic corner as we still await the opening goal. 0-0.
Yeah, it was good movement again, wasn't it? He gives that ball out wide at Tati, then he continues his run into the space that's left. Obviously the fullbacks from Motherwell are going really quickly to the wide guys, and it's just creating that space between themselves and the centre halves, and Celtic just exploiting a little bit. But they get the block in, Motherwell. They're defending quite well at the moment.
Here comes a corner from Haksabanovic, right hand side, outswinger with the right boot, headed away by McGinn outside the penalty, and returned by O'Reilly. Carter Vickers is still up there. Slattery slices his clearance, doesn't get any distance on it, taken down by Haksabanovic. Comes to Juranovic, who's at the edge of the box in the end, tries to get the shot away, but well over the top in the end. Or was it Abada?
Yeah,
mixing the two of those up, the diminutive right-hand side.
They're very alike, aren't they?
They are rather.
And the same movement also when
I
they
think
move.
They've got the same colour boots on as well, which doesn't help either when you've got such poor eyesight as I have. Anyway, either way, it was Abada in the end, but he lashed it over the top of the crossbar. We've played 27 minutes already. Don Robertson telling Liam Kelly to get a move on. It is still goalless as Kelly launches it over the halfway line, taken down neatly by Kevin Van Veen, who has been largely a spectator in the game so far. Out of play for a Motherwell throw in just inside their own half. McGinn to Slattery. Motherwell trying to play those little triangles that David referred to earlier on. Spittle though can only knock it out of play, and it will be a Celtic throw in about 10 yards inside the Motherwell half on the left hand side, to be taken by Taylor into the feet of Haksabanovic, and back for Taylor, and now Carter Vickers about 10 yards inside his own half. Just drifts across to the right hand side, then plays it square to Jens, still just inside his own half, crossing the halfway line now. Taylor offers himself, but it's up to Kyogo and off to Hatate, who tries to get it back to Kyogo. Big chance, great save from Liam Kelly, so quickly off his line to make the block, and Kyogo now has had a hat-trick of chances but no goals yet. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0.
Oh, brilliant save, out quickly. Liam Kelly does that 5-point save, as we talk about the modern goalkeepers do it, and he got a great block on it, but so far Kyogo could have had a hat-trick in this game.
Here's a bad right hand side, the corner's quickly taken. Van Veen slices his clearance, doesn't get punished for it as Juranovic tidies up and gets it out to that right hand side. Here's Moy, back with O'Reilly coming forward midway inside the Motherwell half. Motherwell just about everyone behind the ball right now. Moy swings it into the penalty area from the right hand side. Lamy gets a good header away. Hatate there though before Connor Shields can latch onto it, and Celtic have it once more. Motherwell have lived dangerously at times. They've relied on their goalkeeper, some brave defending, the woodwork. Still Celtic haven't been able to find the breakthrough. Here is Juranovic, right hand side, back to Moy, fires it in. Kyogo's in there once more, sandwiched between two Motherwell defenders who are defending for their lives, and it goes behind off the chest of Kyogo for a goal kick almost at the half-hour mark, and it's Motherwell 0, Celtic 0.
I talked about Kyogo's movement and the build-up to this game. His movement's been brilliant tonight. He's coming off, he's then getting himself forward into positions. Very difficult for the centre halves to actually see where he is, because they can't go short with him, so they're almost holding their positions. Then they've got to watch the ball, they've got to get their body right, and he's coming in on the blind, getting across them, getting beyond them, and he could have easily had 3 goals so far. Even in that situation there, he's trying to get across that near post, and he was blocked off, and it took 2 of them to block him off.
There was some great link-up play between him and I think it was Hatate, and the movement there, as you say, it's so hard to kind of defend against. I think he gets a bit of a break of the ball when Ricky Lamy comes across, but again, Liam Kelly getting out sharp, getting out quick, and he's playing himself well and keeps Motherwell in the game.
Certainly does. Here comes Celtic once more though. Taylor stopped in his tracks by the back-tracking Connor Shields, out for a throw in the near side, the Celtic left, midway inside the Motherwell half. Taylor just trying to steal a couple of yards. Gets away with it in the end anyway, despite Don Robertson telling him to move back. Flicks it on to Haksabanovic on the left-hand side, a couple of yards away from the goal line. Back to Hatate on the angle of the box on the left. Finds Taylor inside the penalty area. Oh, he goes down rather dramatically there. He went down in stages. The Motherwell crowd tell him to get to his feet. Play continues. Haksabanovic, left-hand side, as Celtic pick up once more to the edge of the box. Moy looking for Kyogo. He couldn't hold on to it. O'Reilly picks up, tries to dink it to the back post. Penny's there with a header. Hatate gets it down to Moy. Motherwell just scrapping away there, desperately trying to keep Celtic at bay. 31 played, and they've managed to do so until now. It's Jens on the halfway line, fires it out to the far side, looking for the run of Abada. Too much on that. Penny will see it out, and it remains Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. Pat Bonner, anything in that penalty claim from Greg Taylor for you?
No, I didn't think there was anything in it, to be honest. I think he probably almost stumbled himself, to be honest. But in saying that, I just looking at these Motherwell players, they've got to keep as switched on as possible. There's movement everywhere around about them, little 1-2s, people running in different positions, and you've got, it's almost like as if you take your eye off the ball, or you take the eye off, that you can lose somebody. So they have to really be sharp, and they're doing okay, hanging in there, you've got to say, but do know they're still in this game very, very much.
The thing is, David, the longer they're doing that in the game, it's great as it is, but mentally and physically that becomes exhausting, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, if you start a game and you're defending for your lives and stuff like that, and you have done, you know, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be tiring, and then that's when they need to kind of look at it and try and fresh up if they need to, but they kind of got to expect that at times, because the movement and the awareness they've got, they're going to kind of have the opportunities, and then it's up to Mullock make sure they're switched on to kind of defend for their lives, really.
Here comes Celtic again, but a Motherwell toe in there from Solholm, and they've managed to break up that attack. Connor Shields back to Paul McGinn, still midway inside his own half on the right hand side. Spittle tries to force it forward, looking for Van Veen. Good cut out there by Jens, but a good attempt, good idea certainly from Spittle to try and release Van Veen and try and relieve the pressure on his own backline. and get Motherwell up the pitch a bit.
That's the space. Sorry, go on, David.
I think the difficult thing is when you're defending like that and defending so deep, it's hard to get out maybe at times because you don't have that focal point. If anyone's back in their own half, then it is hard to try and get up the park. So you're trying to find that balance with, keeping someone up to relieve that pressure, to give you a focal point, and get everybody back to kind of try and make sure defensively you're solid.
Moyes giving it away just outside his own penalty area. Was there a shove there of McKinstry? That was what the Motherwell fans certainly were looking for. Gordon Robertson didn't see it, and here comes Celtic at the other end. Hatate, edge of the penalty area, tries to help it in, looking for Kyogo again, and there's another good foot in. It was McGinn all the way across from right back to cover for his central defenders and knock it out of play. Motherwell claim for a foul throw-in taken by Hatate there, perhaps not his forte, but he gets away with it, and Celtic on the right hand side come forward looking for a breakthrough in this League Cup tie.
Yeah, it's been a good game. There's been a lot of good football played out there. One touch pass, two touch pass, and nice and sharp from both sides, you've got to say. It's been a really good game so far.
Yeah, entertaining so far. I expected Celtic a lot of the possession and probably a lot of the clear-cut chances, and then Motherwell a few breakaways at the start. Nothing much over the last 10-15 minutes, but they're keeping themselves in the game. Considering the amount of chances Celtic have, they've kept themselves in the game.
So Motherwell free kick over on the far side, just outside Liam Kelly's penalty area, and it is the keeper who goes out there to launch it long up towards Van Veen, knocked down by Spittle looking for Shields, but Jens is across there to cover and get it back to Siegrist. Plays the short ball again. Motherwell just trying to nick it off the Celtic toes inside their own penalty area, but Celtic are wise to it and they play out, and here they come, and it's Juranovic sliding it forward over the halfway line to Moy. Motherwell shuffling defenders back, Celtic trying to get bodies forward in support of the attack. Moy finds Juranovic once more, infield to O'Reilly. O'Reilly plays a straight ball through, and for once his radar is off all the way through to Liam Kelly. 35 minutes played at Fir Park, and it's Motherwell 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, and the way that Motherwell's pressing Celtic from the back, high up the pitch against Celtic's sort of almost back four in the midfield. You've got to really trust players, haven't you? A goalkeeper getting the ball, passing in to O'Reilly, who's under real pressure, but he trusts him and he allows it to be played in there so we can play it first time.
They're comfortable taking it in tighter areas and stuff, and as you say, trusting each other with the ball, and playing with freedom then as well going forward, which is always difficult to kind of defend against. And the recent opportunity I think show that.
Paul McGinn with the throw in on the halfway line. Motherwell's right. Van Veen picks it up and fires it out to the left hand side for Penny, who takes a good first touch and knocks it back to Lamy. Closed down by Kyogo. Lamy plays it forward once more. Penny takes a poor touch though. Celtic have it back. Moy on the halfway line, hassled there by Goss, and then Penny steps back in to prevent Abada making any headway down the right hand side. Celtic throw in taken quickly. 9 minutes to the break. Still goalless in this first of 3 League Cup ties this evening. Aberdeen Partick Thistle, updates from that one to come when it kicks off at 7:45 in the closing stages here, and certainly throughout the commentary from our third game of the evening, which is Rangers against Dundee.
Yeah, you can see the full-backs from, especially Paul McGinn has said, he's gone really quickly and tight to Haksabanovic every time he gets the ball. He's not worried about what's behind him. That's the centre half role or the midfielder maybe to cover him, but he's stopping Haksabanovic every time he gets the ball. And that's different than maybe the manager in the past when I watch games when Motherwell left the ball with the wide guys and just defended the middle of the box.
Here's Jens. Now Carter Vickers inside the centre circle, the deepest Celtic player other than Benji Siegrist right now. Out to the right hand side it goes. Abada comes in off the flank, back to Carter Vickers. Both he and Jens are well inside the Motherwell half as they press for an opening goal this evening. Back with O'Reilly looking to try and dictate things. Juranovic pokes it out to Moy on the right hand side. Back in field it comes. It's O'Reilly about 25 yards from goal. Taylor now takes over. It's all very tight in there, but Celtic retain possession, and Taylor gets it out to the right to Moy. Crossing opportunity into the penalty area it comes. Solholm rises highest and heads it out of the penalty area. Riley tries to keep it alive. Van Veen picks up. Can he hold on to possession and get his team up the park? No, he can't. He can only play it off Carter Vickers, and it'll break the way of Haksabanovic. Good solid challenge there by Solholm. and he's going to go down injured here in the challenge with Haksabanovic. It will be a Celtic corner, and Solholm has hurt himself, and the last thing Motherwell want is to lose one of their centre-backs again.
Yeah, he can almost... I thought he was going to go to the ground, but he actually stayed on his feet and went in and the tackle, and he's obviously maybe caught his knee or...
Yeah, it looks like it. It was a good solid challenge, I think, as you say there, Pat. He's done actually, I think, well to kind of stay on his feet, because that's a dangerous one when he's kind of coming 100%, and you know, you come and slide in and lose control. It gives the referee the decision to make. I think standing on his feet is kind of a great decision. Listen, gives away the corner, but it looks like he took a knock here, maybe just twisted his knee in the process of that.
Bevis Mugabe was forced into action early in the second half against Rangers at the weekend in place of Ricky Lamy, who'd had to go off with a knock, and might well be the man to get the call should Solholm not be able to recover. He's limping pretty heavily as he comes off here on this near side, and he's been an ever-present domestically for Motherwell this season. Started all the games in both League and League Cup. Celtic prepared to take the corner kick, and Motherwell will have to defend it with Solholm still off the park. That's all they need. Haksabanovic, left-hand side, right-footed, curls it towards the back post. Moyes in there, can't get on the end of it. Neither can Kyogo, and it's gone all the way behind for a a goal kick on the far side, which Motherwell will be delighted about. Solholm trots back on rather uncomfortably.
Yeah, he does look uncomfortable at the moment. He's stretching his hamstring, as probably his knee. When you try to stay on your feet there, you almost have to take the block, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I think that might have just twisted his knee. It'll be interesting to see if he can continue, but it's a bit unfortunate when you're obviously lose a corner and your centre half has to go off the pitch and stay off the pitch. I think it's a little bit unfair.
Yeah, certainly not ideal, but they managed to cope with that not too badly. 5.5 minutes until the interval, and I guess Motherwell want Solholm to try and get to the break, as they did with Ricky Lamy on Sunday, and then perhaps get him a bit of treatment, a bit of rest as well, and assess their options from there, and ideally for them without losing any goals before that. Here's O'Reilly, and Celtic will have other ideas, no doubt. Juranovic coming forward down the right hand side. Moy picks up midway inside the Motherwell half, clips it forward looking for Hatate. He'll do well to get on to the end of that. In fact, he won't. It's gone out for a goal kick, and the Motherwell game plan, you'd have to say, David, for the most part seems to be working, is it not?
Yeah, obviously they've had a good few chances, Celtic, and they've not capitalised on them, but you know, Motherwell worked hard. They've kind of made sure when Celtic are in possession, they're working hard to try and close down any areas. But we've seen about McGinn getting tight. You know, if he does that, tries nullifies any threat, and then hopefully, you know, people behind them are picking up. But again, you know, if they continue this, hopefully they'll be looking to kind of say if they can hang into half time to then regroup and take it in stages.
Siegrist plays it out to Taylor, and now Jens for Taylor once more down the left hand side of Celtic again. Try to play the intricate stuff out from the back. Motherwell have picked up possession, but it's back at the halfway line for them. Slattery all the way back now to Liam Kelly, who plays it first time. It's a good looking ball out to Penny on the left hand side. Applause from the home fans who like the vision and passing ability from their keeper there.
Yeah, it was a good ball, wasn't it? You know, he could see Kyogo racing at him, and he had to get it right, and it was a lovely clip way out to his left hand side into the space, picking out the player.
Juranovic heads it down the right hand side for Celtic, but McKinstry in there to win possession back for Motherwell, going down the left as they come forward over on the far side. It's out for a throw in to Motherwell, just in front of their fans over on the far side, down near the corner flag, as they look to try and shock their visitors and move into the lead themselves. Throw-in's taken back to Goss. Goss into the penalty. It comes off the head of Carter Vickers, and Haksabanovic will go back there and help out his teammate, pick the ball up, and then plays it to Taylor. Cross. In came the challenge there. It was a sliding challenge from Blair Spittle. It was a good one in the end. Had to take plenty of the ball there, the way he slid in, but he did do that, and it's a throw into Celtic with 3 minutes left of the first half. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0. Again, Don Robertson just telling Greg Taylor no further forwards, and Motherwell fans protesting because he continued to come forward and then took it. But anyway, Motherwell win the ball back, and it's McGinn crossing the halfway line forward for Connor Shields, right hand side. Can he find a target in the penalty area? It's behind Kevin Van Veen, and easy for Celtic to mop up there. So difficult, in fairness to Connor Shields there, to pick out a solitary target in the box, but Celtic have given it away. Goss from distance, comfortable save from Benji Siegrist, 25 yards from goal Goss was there as he tried to find the bottom corner. Siegrist read it well, got down to his right. Motherwell 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, a couple of opportunities for Motherwell there. The first one, I think Shields got caught in two minds. He looked to see the movement of Van Veen in the box. He was well picked up, and he tried then to see if he could maybe hit it into his feet. He didn't. I think he just got played across the 6-yard box and hoped that somebody's going to get on the end of it.
Here's Hatate, gets it back to Haksabanovic inside the penalty area. Another good block from Solholm. Comes back the way Abada. Juranovic inside the box, tries to play it in, comes off the head of Moy inadvertently, just an attempted clearance, and Moy's taking a sore one. He's down with a head knock. Actually, the game should be stopped, but Celtic continue, and they might well get the opening goal, and they have. And it's Lee Labada knocking in from Greg Taylor's cut back. Motherwell are furious because they felt the game should have been stopped for the head knock to Aaron Moy. Celtic continued, as did the referee. And Celtic do have the breakthrough just before the interval, and it's Lee Labada with a tap into an empty net. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, but listen, Motherwell players shouldn't be relying on the referee to stop the game because one of the Celtic players is down injured. Just continue the game. But it was brilliant play from Greg Taylor on this left-hand side. A little give and go, and got himself into a great position on this left-hand side, inside the box, and a lovely ball then, and Abada quick and sharp, getting in front of the defender to score and tap into the empty net. But a really good goal from Celtic's perspective right before half-time, which is always a critical time. I keep saying this so many times leading into the break. That's the time you don't want to lose a goal. That's the time, of course, when you want to score a goal. Celtic get it.
Any quibbles with that in terms of the game not being stopped immediately? Did Motherwell switch off, or what do you think, David?
I think it's one of the ones that, a lot of time recently we've seen referees stop the game automatically as soon as someone goes down with a head knock. Again, you can't rely on that nowadays, and I think it's good play from Celtic. It's good interchange for them. I don't think you can rely on somebody else kind of making a decision for you. They've worked so hard. They'll be disappointed to kind of lose a goal. But actually, this kind of late on in the first half, and if they got to half time, I think they can kind of then regroup, kind of get a rest and reset and kind of put a few things together. But
the point, David, the point on the head knock is the ball. It was the ball that hit him in the head.
Yep.
It wasn't a clash of heads or an elbow.
It was hit off him at close range.
The ball's come up and hit.
Yep.
To stop the game, and in that instance, I think the referee called it probably right.
Yeah, well, Aaron Moy is still down receiving treatment, so he's obviously taking a sore one, but you're right, Pat, it wasn't a clash of heads or anything. It didn't look especially serious. Not that we are experts in head collisions or concussion or anything like that, wouldn't profess to be. Aaron Moy is back on his feet, and there are reasons for these rules now being in place. Motherwell still complaining to Don Robertson, but ultimately the referee's whistle didn't go, and one of the first rules you're taught when you're learning the game of football is play the whistle.
I think he's got a bloody nose from the ball smashing against him, but that's about it.
Play has restarted. There's 2 minutes at least to be added on at the end of this first period. That goal came in the final minute of the first 45, and Motherwell's resistance broken. Then Celtic do as they tend to do. They just press and push for the goal until it eventually comes. And it's Lee Labada with a 7th goal of the season, his first in the League Cup, to open the scoring as Rio Hatate has fouled Callum Slattery, and there will be a free kick to Motherwell and a chance potentially to mount an effort for an equaliser here just before the interval, as we're deep into stoppage time. But it is a free kick midway inside the Celtic half, right hand side, with Sean Goss over it, and Motherwell will look to try and create one final chance before the half-time whistle goes. Van Veen standing well offside just for the moment as Goss prepares to flight it in towards the back post. Can Motherwell get it back across goal? Lamy does get it in there, but Celtic scramble it clear with a long leg of Moritz Jens, who got it clear out of the penalty area there, and it's all the way back down the field, and Liam Kelly will return it, and there's an offside flag up against Ricky Lamy, and it will remain Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Was it Ricky Lamy that was coming in the back post? I'll tell you what, he had a clear chance to head that. He didn't have to knock it down. He could have headed straight at goal. I thought it was a great opportunity.
Yeah,
for
I think it almost looks like he's caught in two minds here, whether to go for goal or knock it back across. And that's the thing with set plays. Obviously, there's always a chance, always a danger of kind of conceding. And I think that was a good opportunity for Motherwell there to try and capitalise on.
Celtic have it, edge of their own penalty area. We've gone beyond the added on 2 minutes. We're now into the third after the stoppage because of the injury to Aaron Moy, as Greg Taylor is taken out of play there by Callum Slattery. And in fact, that is the end of the first period. Well, the boos ring out from the home fans, and I suspect that is because of the slightly contentious decision, perhaps, that the game wasn't stopped for a head knock to Aaron Moy just in advance of Celtic taking the lead. But ultimately, Celtic played on, the referee's whistle didn't go, and Greg Taylor found Lee Labada with a square ball across the 6-yard box to notch the only goal of the game so far. But there have been chances at both ends, primarily for Celtic, albeit Stuart McKinstry had a shot blocked early on before Kyogo slipped one wide when you'd expect him to score in the early stages, before he cracked one off the underside of the bar from 25 yards. Aaron Moy had a shot saved. Kyogo then was brilliantly blocked by Liam Kelly. The Japanese striker could have a hat-trick in that opening half hour. Just before Celtic scored, Sean Goss tried his luck from distance. It was comfortably saved by Benji Siegrist. Celtic went down the other end, and Taylor set up Abada for the only goal of the first half. At half-time at Fir Park in the League Cup quarter-final, it's Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Motherwell versus Celtic.
Can you, son? Yes, you can! Brilliant finish!
Live on Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
But I think a big talking point in terms of that Motherwell Celtic game. We'll get back to that because we're going live immediately to Brian McLaughlin pitch side with Jim Goodwin.
Yeah, chillier than it was on Sunday here. A different test as well tonight for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the conditions, it's actually a lovely evening for football. It is a wee bit cold, but perfect night for football. No real wind, nice and dry. Pitch is in great condition. The ground staff have worked tirelessly over the last couple of days with a quick turnaround from Sunday's game. So yeah, we're all looking forward to it, but it's a different challenge to what we faced on Sunday. You know, Hearts were very good on the day. We had to fight hard for the victory and obviously keep the clean sheet. Tonight, I would imagine we'll have more possession, and we're going to have to find a way to break Partick Thistle down. With that said, you know, knowing Ian McCall like I do and the way he sets his teams up, he won't be coming here to park the bus, I wouldn't imagine. You know, they tend to have a go in these games because, you know, they've got nothing to lose.
Speaking to one or two Thistle fans today, they fancied their chances a little bit tonight.
Yes, well, I mean, I read a quote from Alan Archibald yesterday on the BBC website, in fact, and I made my players aware of that before tonight's game, that you know, Alan boldly said that they fancy their chances, and why not? You know, I've been there myself, where you're the underdog. I've been at Alloa, going to some of the big teams. There's no level of expectation, there's no pressure. They have got some very good experienced players in their team, boys who have played in the Premier League before, so they certainly won't be overawed by the occasion, and if anything, they'll probably look forward to it and want to enjoy it. So we've given them the utmost respect, as I always say about the lower league teams. Partick are flying high in the Championship at the moment, top of the league, scoring plenty of goals as well. So we know the dangers that they possess, but you know, us being the Premier League team, the home team, and in front of a very expectant crowd, we have to come flying out of the traps and take the game to them.
You've made a couple of changes back-to-back for tonight?
No, we're going to stick with the back three, actually. Liam Scales and Ross McCrory were excellent on Sunday, and what we've asked of them in that particular position is to step in from the back line and make up that extra man in the middle of the park. You know, sometimes they've done it very well in the second half. In fact, I thought in particular Ross McCrory, he stepped in, and you know, the Hearts defensive line didn't know whether to engage with him, and then when they did, we were able to pop it around them and get the extra man out wide. So we're hoping for more of the same with regards to that. We've worked hard on that in training the last few days. It worked well on Sunday. Hopefully it will work well again today. Conor Barron comes out of the team. He'll be replaced by Vinny Bejuin, purely down to the fact that Conor played his first competitive game of the season on Sunday. We want him to be fresh for the weekend against Motherwell, and we feel that if we played him tonight in this type of game, we might run the risk of him picking up a little injury. The other two changes were in the wing-back areas, Richardson and McKenzie, who again were excellent at the weekend, but we've took them out to put Matty Kennedy and Hayden Coulson in, who will do a shift for us defensively, but will give us a little bit more quality, if you like, in the offensive third, and hopefully we'll get plenty of good quality deliveries from them in wide areas and good service for the strikers and the midfielders to go and get on the end of.
And finally, briefly, Jim, a semi-final plays up for grabs. Is that the message to your players tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, there's 12 new faces here at Aberdeen this season. A lot of them haven't been to a semi-final in a domestic cup competition in the leagues that they've played in recently. That's how we kind of sold this club to them and told them that, you know, there will be opportunities to go and win a national trophy, and you know, that's what we have to aim for. It's as simple as that. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves, but you know, the Aberdeen fans under Derek McInnes, you know, I think 10 semi-finals Derek brought this club to, which is a hell of an achievement. Done brilliant again last night, and congratulations to Kilmarnock for the first team in the hat for the semis. And we want to go and join them, and we want to make sure that we don't have any slip-ups here tonight. As I said, we're giving them the utmost respect. We haven't underestimated them in terms of our preparation, and yeah, we have to just make sure we find a way to get the job done. It's as simple as that. Obviously, I would love to do it, playing free-flowing football and giving the fans here plenty of goals, but if we need to grind out a 1-0, I'll take that right now.
I'm sure you will. Thanks, Jim. Good
Top
luck.
man, thank you.
And just going through the teams, Richard, 3 changes made. Richardson, McKenzie and Barron, the players missing out. Bezwan, Coulson and Kennedy coming in. So Roos and goal, a back 3, McCrory, Stewart and Scales. Coulson and Kennedy, the wings back. Bezwan, Clarkson, Ramadani, with Duke and Majowski leading the line. 2 changes made by Ian McCall from the Partick Thistle side, successful at the weekend against Hamilton. Fitzpatrick and Graham dropped to the bench. Tiffany and Dowds, the 2 players coming in. So it's Snedden and goal, McMillan, Muirhead, Holt and Milne, the back 4, Docherty and Bannigan, the 2 sitters, Lawless, Tiffany and McKinnon, with Dowds leading the line. David Monroe is the referee here at Pittodrie.
Right, thank you very much indeed, Brian. William Miller, just some brief thoughts perhaps at this stage. Clearly Aberdeen going as favourites, but well, I've seen Partick Thistle in the flesh. I'm sure you're well aware of the kind of football they've been playing this season. Understandably, they come here with a bit of confidence.
Richard, you've seen upsets at Pittodrie over the years, haven't you?
Many
of them, from lesser outlets than Partick Thistle. I mean, you know, you're talking about a lower league team. I wouldn't put the emphasis in lower league because Partick Thistle are doing extremely well in the championship, looking, you know, as though, and I don't want dodgy down my throat by saying anything outrageous, like they look as though they might win that that league, so I won't say it, but doing very well at this moment in time. A wily old manager, Ian McCall, as well, and he'll make it very difficult, and I wouldn't take them for granted up here. I think it's going to be a difficult night for Aberdeen. I think if Partick Thistle play to their capabilities, then they will make it so. And 3 changes, I'm surprised at the changes, to be perfectly honest. And I thought with the personnel in the team that it might have been a back 4, but Jim Goodwin sticking with the 3 and playing Matty Kennedy as the right wing back. It's all, you know, it's looking like an exciting evening here tonight, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
And I'm sure Ian McCall is as well. He's now live with Brian.
I'll ask him. You excited, Ian, about this tonight?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah, I'm excited about every game. I'm not that bloody old. Yeah, of course I am. I'm looking forward to it. I think the more important thing is the players are looking forward to it.
Yeah, what's your message to them tonight?
Well, we're not going to change. We play the way we play. We recognise that I don't think we can turn over the ball and get away with it like we might do. But I've thought for many years that the top 2 or 3 in the Championship and the bottom 2 or 3 in the Premier League, there's not that much difference. But Aberdeen, unfortunately, are in the bottom 2 or 3 in the Premier League. So, yeah, they've got a lot of pace in their team. So have we. I'm hoping they really embrace it and enjoy it and win.
Have you, I'm sure you will have had a look at Aberdeen, have you seen areas here that you can exploit tonight?
Well, I think every team's got areas that they can exploit. It doesn't matter what level you're at. I think, you know, we've talked about 1 or 2 things, but I think it's more important that we get what we do right. Play the way we want to play, which is moving the ball about the pitch. Whether we'll to do that, who knows? But, you know, I think we've been beaten twice in about 16 games, so there's certainly a level of confidence there. You know, we were really complaining about the performance against Hamilton, but it turned out no bad result after last night, you know.
Yeah, when you look at, obviously the league's a priority though, Ian, isn't it?
100%, yeah, and Jim would say the same thing. I mean, I think Aberdeen are a club expected to get to semi-finals and finals, which they did regularly under Derek, so for us, it'd be great for our supporters to get to semi-final.
Hampden?
Absolutely, but you know what? Let's try and do well in the league. That's the bread and butter.
Appreciate your time and good luck.
Okay, cheers, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the best to Ian McCall. Always an entertaining listen. We heard from Jim Goodwin as well. They are both managers set for this one. Kicks off in a little over half an hour. We'll be bringing you right across this game throughout the course of the evening. Willie Miller will be providing the updates into the live action. Let's quickly get back to Fir Park. The players will be back out again in a few minutes, I guess. 1-0 Celtic half-time. Cannot dispute that they deserve to be in the leads, Pat Bonner. Kyogo, who you talked about beforehand, just decided to go and prove everything you'd said, that he's just not quite the man in front of goal as he was last season. Could have been a hat-trick, although very unlucky with that superb strike that crashes off the underside of the bar. It's actually been a pretty decent game, hasn't it?
No, it's been a good game. Lots of really good passing in the game from both sides, I've got to say. Obviously Celtic have produced the better chances, Kyogo involved, and tonight his movement has been terrific, absolutely terrific. He's been probably very unfortunate that he hasn't scored the first chance he had. He almost got too good a contact. He just didn't open up his foot a little bit and almost played it back to where it came from. The second one, he created that space which he was doing earlier, dropping off his centre half, then getting the ball and opening up and hit it terrific. I'm not sure if have you seen any of it, Richard?
Yeah, I'm watching it. Yeah.
Did Liam Kelly get a touch on that shot?
I couldn't quite make out on the replay.
If he did, it would have been a great save because it hit the underside of the crossbar, comes down, and then he had a terrific save from him again when he came out really quickly and spread himself. And then the goal, you listen, people will question to see whether the referee should have stopped the game.
Right, I watched it just as you were chatting there, but I saw a replay coming in. The one thing I'm going to say right now is that Don Robertson didn't see Aaron Moy down there because he doesn't look to his right. The ball obviously, so it's an attempted clearance. It cannons off the face or head of Aaron Moy, and he staggers a bit and then he drops to the ground. For me, if the referee has seen him, he's good. It doesn't matter. You said it wasn't a flying elbow or a head-to-head. For me, that doesn't matter. It's the potential seriousness of the injury that's the crucial thing, and that's why the game gets stopped for head knocks. It's not because of how or why the injury was inflicted. It's the potential seriousness of the situation. And I think if Don Robertson sees him, he stops that game. He has to stop that game.
Do you think so? Well, maybe that is a rule, but when I'm watching games and I see somebody clashing heads, absolutely, or if there's an elbow or something of that nature. But when the ball hits somebody, then I kind of let it run for a bit. If it was me, it was refereeing, to see how much, and it happens then so quickly. The goal comes from that, but players shouldn't switch off.
No, and that's the one thing. Ricky Lamy is he's kind of, his concentration lapses briefly. He looks to his left, he raises his hand, he's trying to attract the referee's attention. Now he does then start to get it back, but actually he's not fully in position by the time the ball is tapped in by Ibarra. So you could absolutely say that he's potentially,
he's affected.
Yes, he is affected, but he shouldn't be.
No, switching off, and so there's arguments on both sides for it, and obviously we didn't see if the referee had seen it or not. Obviously, you're saying from what you watched on TV that the referee obviously didn't see him going down, but is that not his job to see him?
I mean, to be fair, he's following the play and he's looking out and he's waiting, I suppose, for any indication as to what's happening as Celtic. And it's a quick fire pinball move, isn't it, as they carve through the Motherwell defence. But yeah, look, he was kind of behind him, I suppose, at that stage. Maybe you're right. Maybe referees they should be looking back and forth. But I mean, he's drawn to what is happening over to his left, if you like. Meantime, over his right shoulder, Aaron Moy is lying in the box, and he does. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's what throws Ricky Lamy, David, is the fact that Moy is now lying in the box. He's lying on the ground.
I think that's when it becomes difficult as players and stuff like nowadays with the ruling and the severity of kind of head knocks, as you mentioned there. An element of how it occurs. He's put us one in the face, as we've seen, because he was down. He's looked like he's obviously busted his nose or burst something that could become a serious issue. And again, then that's a reaction because of the way things are now. Players do react to that. Players are then thinking, well, it's a stoppage. If an official sees it, whether that's the ref or the linesman, then automatically, it becomes a stoppage. And it doesn't happen. And on the flip side, you know, it's so important then not to switch off, because if you do that, that's obviously the quality that Celtic have. They can punish you, and it's a difficult one. It'll be, you know, from both sides. Motherwell will be disappointed that it wasn't, you know, stopped. The play wasn't stopped, and from a Celtic point of view, they kind of carry on, good play to get the goal.
Psychologically, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Conceding that goal right before half-time. They've had to... It's been a backs-to-the-wall performance for your old team at times.
Yeah, say they've worked hard and stuff, and I think they always kind of knew that, you know, the way Celtic are playing now and the opportunities they create. I think that was always going to be part and parcel of the game. They've had a few chances themselves, and the half-time will be now what they do with it. Do they kind of be a bit more expansive and try and get an equaliser? Do they hang in for a bit and try and nick something? That will be the challenge now for Motherwell.
Right, let's quickly go to Ibrox, because that's the 8:15 game. We'll have live commentary to come from there later. Paul Mitchell is our commentator. You've got the team news, Paul.
Yeah, I've got the Rangers team, which has just come to me, Richard. Only Tavernier, King, Lundstrom and Tillman survived from the game against Motherwell. John McLaughlin comes into the goal. You're back for Tavernier, King, Sands, Yilmaz, Davidson, Lundstrom sitting right, Sakala and Tillman, and Alfredo Morelos leads the line. Still waiting for confirmation on the Dundee side. We'll get back to you as soon as we can, Richard. But Rangers with 7 changes.
Wow, OK. Gosh, a sighting of Yilmaz at left back for the Rangers fans. Right, we'll get to that game. We'll get to this game here at Pittodrie. Let's get back to Fir Park, just getting underway. Second half, Motherwell 0, Celtic 1. Lamont.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, just underway again, and Motherwell looking to try and get back level as they kick us off, going from right to left as we look at it from the back of the main stand. No changes could see at half-time. Adam Moy certainly back out there again after that head knock just in the lead up to the Celtic goal. As Motherwell come forward, it's Penny on the edge of the penalty, shooting opportunity, fingertips by Benji Siegrist. Think it was heading wide. We had a brilliant angle on it. Think it was just heading narrowly wide. Benji Siegrist wasn't taking any chances. Corner kick, Motherwell.
No, it was a good strike. It was low to his left. Just, I would say you're right, it might have just been even hitting the post, but he dives, lovely angle of his dive, right angles to the path of the ball, and gets a big hand and just touches it, keeps it moving back outside the post, give away the corner.
Yep, far side to be taken by Goss, swings in towards the near post. Benji Siegrist came for it. It was a header in the end from O'Reilly that took it away from him, but away from danger as well. Celtic trying to clear the lines down their right hand side, but McKinstry has it back. It's a good start to the second half for Motherwell. Here comes Penny on the left. Now Spittle just in from the touchline onto the right foot, swings it in back post, way over the head of Connor Shields. Poor cross in the end from Blair Spittle, but a promising opening to the second half from the home side. But it's Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Positive start there again, kind of straight for kick-off, try to put pressure onto Celtic, and Matty Penny coming in there with an opportunity, a good save, and even the leading corner. It was a great ball in, unfortunately they kind of capitalise on it, but I think they'll take a wee bit of confidence for that again, kind of to start well, and I think you can see maybe try and put a wee bit of pressure on Celtic now to try and get themselves back in the game.
Throw in on this near side to Motherwell, and when it's now on them to come out and try and at least get the equaliser, which would take the game potentially into extra time and who knows, even penalties. Celtic in the driving seat, and it's not too often they're pegged back, that's for sure. There's a bad of the goal scorer, loses out to McKinstry. In the halfway line it's Slattery, hounded by Moy. Back it goes to Solholm, who likewise is pressurised by Kyogo. Solholm gets it back to Liam Kelly, who launches it long over the halfway line. McKinstry will go and close that down, but Juranovic touches it back to Siegrist. Poor clearance, picked up on by Goss, sliding in there goes O'Reilly. Good challenge, breaks for Spittle though, left hand side, and it's Penny. He's got McKinstry outside of him. Penny tries to stand up towards the back post. Wrong choice, wrong execution from Penny. It's still Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, he's just lifting it to the back post, hoping somebody's going to come around the back, but he just could have played McKinstry in down this left hand side, and he could have drove to the byline. That commits defenders then. Defenders will not make a choice. Do I leave the centre, come out to me, or stay and defend? But that ball in was a nothing ball, really.
Yeah, it's a bit hopeful. We say it was good again, good positive play from Motherwell, Penny down the left hand side. Again, McKinstry kind of keeping his width, kind of demanding it, and then, you know, a bit of a hopeful ball in, maybe giving that wide kind of creates, as you say, a better opportunity to kind of get at people and commit people.
Here comes Celtic right hand side. Abada working hard to ensure he keeps hold of the ball. Hatate now, edge of the penalty area. In it comes for Kyogo. Gets plenty on the shot, but he skews it well wide. And it's another chance come and gone for Kyogo. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, it's good play again. Hatate getting in between the lines, and a lovely little ball, penetrating ball into him. Then he opens up, and then he tries to pick up out Kyogo. And I think it was the right choice actually. And Kyogo just slashed at it. It could have easily have ended up in the back of the net as much as going 40 yards over the crossbar.
Yeah, great movement again. Kyogo kind of arriving onto it, and a great pick out as well, and another kind of opportunity there for Celtic, really.
Yeah, the second half has started the same theme as the first, with chances at either end. Celtic have the crucial advantage, scored by Abada in the final minute of the opening 45. And Solholm seems to have completely recovered from the knock he took just towards the end of that first period. Though I say that, just maybe limping ever so slightly after going into a 50-50 there. But Motherwell will look to try and keep him on the field of play if at all possible. It's Penny preparing to take the throw-in down in front of us in the main, just at the bottom of the main stand. The left back for Motherwell on the halfway line launches it down the left, but Carter Vickers is first to it, heads it clear. Lamy then gets his head to it. McGinn will have to take care against Haksabanovic, who thought he nicked the ball off him, but fouled McGinn in doing so, and it will be a Motherwell free kick about 15-20 yards inside their own half, which Liam Kelly will come out of his box to take.
Yeah, I just wonder at times, Haksabanovic out on the left-hand side, we've seen him play in that sort of inside left midfield position before, and he's been very effective, but he has to stay wide. It's the way that the manager wants him to play, and it's almost confines himself to that position. So Paul McGinn actually knows exactly where he is every single time Celtic get the ball. And as soon as it's played wide, he closes him down, and he's been less effective, I think, in this game than in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, credit to Paul McGinn for that, though. His first season at Motherwell, he's really nailed down that right back spot, with Stephen O'Donnell having to watch on from the dugout for the most of this season. Here's Lamy on the halfway line, out to Penny. It's a good ball headed down to McKinstry and back to Penny on the left touch line, crossing opportunity. Not a bad ball. Carter Vickers is there first though before Van Veen can make anything of it. Slattery picks up and finds Goss. He tries to fire it back out to Penny, but he just gets his pass a couple of yards off target, and it's out for a throw into Celtic midway inside their own half, taken by Juranovic, nodded back to him by Moy. Juranovic tries to step away from McKinstry and then plays it infield for O'Reilly, who just clips it out to the left hand side for Taylor. Taylor under pressure here from Shields, holds on to possession. It's O'Reilly back to Jens and then back to Siegrist. Motherwell pressing hard, and Siegrist fluffs his kick, falls to Spittle at the edge of the penalty area. Can't really make anything of it though, and O'Reilly does well to rob him and releases Juranovic to drive forward. Slips out to the right hand side. It's Abada right hand side of the penalty area, into the 6-yard box he comes. He just slips as he tries to cross into the arms of Liam Kelly. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1.
Oh, it was a great position for Abada. He's feeling his hip. He's obviously it was a poor cross, got into a great position and really just fluffed his cross straight into the goalkeeper's hands.
Packy, do you think Celtic players, I mean, I know they were very fit looking under Brendan Rodgers. Are they fitter now than they've ever been, this group of players?
Yeah, well, listen, you had a great interview with the manager and talked about sports science. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But I think sports science now as a crucial part of the modern game. And every player knows what their body fat is, what their fitness levels are, and if they're not up to it in this team, they're not going to get into it. So I think that's the importance of it, and this information that maybe we didn't have in the older days.
It's a massive part. I think with a lot of teams now, it's you know, everything is structured to a match day in terms of their workloads and their training loads and stuff, and to make sure they're at their peak every day and aiming towards game day. So I think that's a massive part of it nowadays. And back in the days, I don't think that was in play back then.
No,
I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't comparing them to you two.
You compared them to Brendan Rodgers' team. I think it was
the more recent past.
I think this team plays with definitely higher intensity, and especially when they don't have the ball, which is another crucial part of the game. They close you down so quickly.
I was just watching Juranovic bombing forward from fullback, and the fullbacks just get up and down the park all day long. Here comes Celtic, and it's Greg Taylor giving chase at the edge of the Motherwell penalty area as if to underline the point. Motherwell deal with that one though. Well won by O'Reilly, but falls for Solholm just outside his own penalty area. Motherwell have it, right hand side. Slattery, good ball infield for Spittle. Heavy touch though, and then he dives in on Taylor. That's a poor challenge from Spittle. He was off the ground. It's going to be a yellow card. First of the evening, by my reckoning, and no real arguments, I don't think, there, David.
No, again, it's a great position for Blair Spittle to pick up, and just takes a bad touch and takes towards Taylor on the left-hand side, as say. But again, that's one of the things we spoke about earlier. When they're in possession, they've got to be better with it. It's a good chance here to go and create a counter-attack, but just again a wee bit slack with taking the ball in.
Yeah, it was a hanging foot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't one where he was going and really got in nasty with it. I think it was just a hanging foot because he knew he had lost control of the ball, but it was a yellow card, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Blair Spittle comes under the bracket of not that type of player to go out and try and hurt anyone. And he did catch Greg Taylor, goes into the referee's book. It is, however, a throw into Motherwell over on the far side. Motherwell 0, Celtic 1. Lee Labada just before half-time. Celtic certainly on top in terms of chances created, possession, etc, but Motherwell have had opportunities and will live in hope that they can create another one or two in this second period to try and get back into the cup tie.
Yeah, just going back to the point that you made about sports science and all of that we were talking about, I think Motherwell looks very sharp also, and I think here's a chance for Celtic.
Here's a chance, and it's a bad on the left foot, and Kelly does enough to push it wide. Hatate will keep it in, finds Moy inside the penalty area, cross goal it comes, Kelly gets something on it again. Motherwell can clear it only as far as Juranovic, who goes for goal. Kelly fends it off once more, and then it's knocked in, and Abada has a second from just inside the penalty area. He took it first time on the rebound. Liam Kelly had kept it out not once, not twice, but 3 times. He couldn't keep out the fourth. Lee Labada makes it Motherwell 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, it was ping pong, wasn't it, Ray, in the box. Liam Kelly making decent save. He had made one really good save in the middle of that situation, but eventually the last one, I just think maybe if he could have knocked it away to safety, he can almost knocked it straight back out into the middle of the goal, and there was the chance for Celtic to make it 2-0. He was complaining, I think the Motherwell defence was complaining also, David, that maybe there was players in an offside position blocking him off.
Look, to start with, again, I think that's what he's asking. If someone maybe standing in front of him, blocking his view and stuff like that. He made a couple of saves, and again, it just obviously ends up in Abada's feet, and kind of does a good finish. Kind of takes it first time. We spoke about that earlier with Stuart McKinstry. Takes it first time and took Celtic 2 up. But again, that looks at a kind of a different spirit now for Motherwell. What they do now.
Yeah, it's a long way back for Motherwell. They did find themselves 2 down to Rangers, of course, on Sunday, and came back into the game and made it a bit more nervy for Rangers towards the end of the game. Absolutely must get the next goal if they are to have any chance of staying in the cup tie. Just in terms of that, the Motherwell complaints there, of course, as of Friday, we'll have VAR in Scottish football, and although this is a League Cup quarter-final and that wouldn't have VAR, but the league games all well in the League Cup and Scottish Cup semi-finals and finals will as well, and that would clearly have been looked at under VAR. As of Friday, the Hibs St Johnstone game will be the first to use it, and that will certainly have come under consideration. Here comes Celtic again looking for a third goal. It's Abada from the right hand side into the arms of Liam Kelly. I must just draw your attention, it's a really instructive and interesting programme on VAR that BBC Scotland have put together. If you look on the iPlayer, you'll find, I think it's on BBC Scotland tomorrow evening as well, but it's on the iPlayer right now. It's called VAR Friend or Foe, half an hour, and it just basically outlines exactly how it will be used, what for, etc. in Scottish football when it comes into play on Friday. Here comes Celtic, stood up to the back post. Taylor will go and retrieve it as it's headed away by Shields. And Celtic well in command now. David, Motherwell, you do feel they will have to, I mean, they have been coming forward when possible, but they need to begin to commit even more numbers forward.
Yeah, I think at 1-0 you're kind of always prone to nick one. At 2-0 it kind of changed the game again. Celtic obviously now, you know, want to control the game and they'll play it around the back. They don't really need to go for another goal now and try and pick Motherwell apart. They'll look for the wee gaps that will open up, but again at 2-0 it's always the result that we always say, next person to get the goal. If Motherwell get that next goal.
There's Kyogo over the top. Oh, it's almost a brilliant, well, it was a brilliant first touch. It was his second, rather took it away from him as Moy played a long ball and the Japanese striker pulled it out of the air, but just couldn't get the shot away in the end, and Motherwell survive on that occasion. We played almost an hour at Fir Park. It is Motherwell 0, Celtic 2. Aberdeen against Partick Thistle kicking off in just under 15 minutes time. We'll bring you updates of any goals or major incidents that happen in the opening stages of that, and then stick with us for live commentary as Rangers host Dundee. Here come Motherwell, edge of the penalty area. Spittle looking to find room for the shot. Poor touch inside the penalty area from Spittle, and the groans come from the home crowd as Motherwell can't fashion the opportunity.
Yeah, I was a bit slow by Blair Spittle, but again Celtic giving the ball away from Juranovic, which was in a really dangerous position to give the possession to Blair Spittle.
Abada for Hatate, gets spinned inside the 6-yard box. That is brilliant, absolutely outstanding from Rio Hatate to make it 3. The footwork involved there was just sublime. Abada squeezed it through to him. He was inside the 6-yard box, a couple of Motherwell players around him, and somehow he manipulated the ball and poked it beyond Liam Kelly. It is Motherwell 0, Celtic 3. What about that?
Some great footwork there, as say down. It does well. I think it's Abada on the right hand side getting the cross. Motherwell don't deal with it, and then there Hatate kind of breaks them, and it's some great footwork to kind of take it by. I think it's Lammy and Kelly flying out to then to get his finish off, and you know the quality they've got. I think that kind of shows for that goal there.
Real quality in that, wasn't it? Real quality, and there was no argument about Owen. The only thing that will be the Motherwell players arguing among themselves that they should have really been a bit sharper to close things down and stop Hatate getting the ball. But when he got it, his back to goal, pulled it back and just foxed the Motherwell defenders, and then slotted past the goalkeeper. Also a brilliant goal, I've got to say, from a young player who excites you at times when you see that quality.
They've been so bright so far as well, to be fair, and it's difficult to defend against when you've got quality of that. Again, they can copy a goal from, you know, a position where you think he's going to find it difficult to get a shot away.
So Celtic substitution in the wake of that goal going in. Matt O'Reilly has come off, and it's Oliver Abiogor who will come on and just occupy that same holding position in front of the defence for Celtic. The Dane comes on for his 5th appearance in a Celtic jersey as Motherwell win a free kick, but Rio Hatate, well, he scored the winner against Motherwell at Celtic Park recently, and also hit the post, but it was his poor pass, if you remember, that led to Callum McGregor having to haul down Ross Tierney and got the red card. Hatate was very apologetic in the wake of that, but while the footwork, if you can get a chance to see a clip of this, it's just mouth-watering stuff from the Japanese midfielder. Motherwell free kick into the penalty area it comes. Lamy tries to hit it back across goal again, and it comes off a Celtic body, and it's behind for a Motherwell corner. Well, we did say that Motherwell needed to get the next goal, even if they got another goal. If they got one goal now, it might give Celtic something to think about, but 3 down to the League Cup holders and league champion Celtic. It's virtually impossible. Corner swung in though to the back post. Question there about whether there was a bit of holding going on by Greg Taylor, but Don Robertson, the referee, is pointing simply for a goal kick rather than to the spot, as the Motherwell fans were hoping. Any
hard to see there. I think the only concern would have been for Taylor that he's actually not facing the ball, so I think maybe the two of them kind of jostle each other, but I don't think Taylor's actually facing the ball, and that might have kind of swayed the referee's decision, but I think it would have been a kind of potentially a difficult one to give with both of them kind of grappling each other.
Yeah, I think so. I think the ball's going over. It looks as if it was going over both their heads, and Taylor's going to turn almost to chase the ball, and he's kind of run into into the Motherwell player, and it was almost like a 50-50 kind of situation. I think that probably has been the right decision, maybe from the referee again. But Motherwell would have loved to have got a penalty to get themselves back into the game, because so quickly the game can run away from you. You know, Celtic 3-0 up, and it just switched off a little bit. I think for about 5 or 6 minutes there was a moment in the middle of the pitch there when Celtic played out in this right back position, and he almost played it in to Aaron Moy, and Goss was so far off him, allowed him to open up and hit that ball over the top for Kyogo. That little bit of concentration, that little bit of organisation, and going at Celtic and stopping them from playing, that they just switched off from that for about 5 or 6 minutes, and that's allowed Celtic then to get their goals.
Triple substitution just made by the home side as they look to somehow claw their way back into the game. On have come Bevis Mugabe, Dean Cornelius and Ross Tierney for the closing 26 minutes or thereabouts. Off have gone Sondre Solholm, who was struggling with a bit of a knock, also Callum Slattery and Blair Spittle. So essentially, David, all those are pretty much like for like swaps, aren't they?
Yeah, I think maybe just try to freshen up a wee bit. I say they've put so much effort into the game that maybe a fresh legs to kind of try and get a bit of grip in the game and stuff like that. Maybe cause a few problems for Celtic, or again just now dig in and try and see if they can maybe nick something. But I think maybe freshen up. I think it's the right decision.
Kelly getting away with a poor clearance there. Lamy digging him out of a hole as Abada prepares to pounce. As a free kick going the way of the home side for a challenge by Aaron Moy on Matt Penny, and it'll be a free kick to Motherwell midway inside their own half, just in the left hand side. It's Motherwell 0, Celtic 3, 65 minutes on the clock, and Celtic very much on course to take their place in the last 4. Return to Hampden in a competition they have almost utterly dominated in the past 6 years. 5 triumphs in that period. Only St Johnstone have managed to win it, other than Celtic, in that period a couple of years back. Celtic have the throw-in over on the far side, and certainly in this mood, the mood that Celtic were in at the weekend as well, they are pretty close to unstoppable just at the moment, Packy, certainly domestically.
Yeah, listen, they switched off for a couple of weeks, I think, but they're back. That resulted at the weekend, that 6-1, almost demoralising for Hibs, but certainly for Celtic, it's given them that renewed confidence. They're moving the ball really well, the tempo's there, the passing's good, the movement off the ball also, which I think is a huge important part of their game, is also very, very good.
Throw in Motherwell over on the far side, almost 3/4 of the game played. Motherwell will have to turn their attentions back to league duty for the remainder of the campaign before the split for the World Cup. Their next match is here against Aberdeen, as Carter Vickers lays it back to Benji Siegrist. Hasn't really had too many big saves to make, in all honesty.
Just the one on his left-hand side, wasn't it? It was a decent save down to his left side, which was a good one. He'll be happy with that, to be honest, because when you don't have a lot of saves to make, when you have to do it, you've got to pull it out, especially when you play for Celtic, and that'll give him confidence.
Yeah, I do think it was heading wide right enough, but nonetheless, it was a good stop. Kyogo just inside the Motherwell half, gets it back from Hatate, gets out to Haksabanovic on the left-hand side, about 15 yards inside Motherwell territory. Again, Paul McGinn doing well against Haksabanovic, runs into Hatate though, and now it's Kyogo, feeds that forward looking for Abada. Celtic had the luxury of replacing James Forrest, who scored a hat-trick at the weekend, with Lee Abada, who is now on course for a hat-trick himself. Not bad going, tells you everything you need to know about the strength and depth of this Celtic side. Here they come once more, and it's Moy, 25 yards from goal, tried to just take that onto the left foot. Hatate takes over as Motherwell close down the space. Juranovic back to Hatate, about 30 yards from the Motherwell goal. Now Juranovic once more, and again it's Hatate as Celtic look to try and manufacture the opening. Carter Vickers square to Jens, out to the left-hand side he goes. Haksabanovic slides it forwards, it's Taylor in an advanced position trying to get away from Mugabe, the substitute for Motherwell. Back to Carter Vickers on the edge of the centre circle. Looks for options, just plays it short to Juranovic, square to Jens, just inside Motherwell half. Alright, Abiogor, I beg your pardon. O'Reilly, of course, is off. Siegrist just outside his penalty area as Celtic just circulate possession but hold on to the ball and make Motherwell work ever so hard, and then Juranovic just skips away from McKinstry and then finds Taylor out to Haksabanovic, angle of the box on the left hand side. Celtic looking for number 4. Lamy steps in though and pokes it up towards the halfway line. Jens is there before Van Veen. Carter Vickers also slides into the 50-50. Sean Goss pulled out of that, and
yeah, he didn't have.
well, I think that's, Motherwell fans probably want to see their player going in for that to at least try and win it. But as it is, it's out for a throw and over on the far side. Quickly taken, Motherwell coming forward. Down goes Abiogor and then handles the ball on the ground, and it will be a Motherwell free kick just inside Celtic's half.
That'll be a difficult thing now. Celtic just kind of keep easy possession, really kind of try to draw Motherwell out to create, more space for the attacking players to move into, and again that can be a bit frustrating, and you need to kind of keep your discipline and kind of just work as hard as you can, look for any opportunities to kind of go and still create something and try and get a goal at least, and then maybe put a bit more pressure on them. Maybe a long way back, but keep their discipline at least.
Goss finds Lamy at the back post, and then Cornelius takes a swipe at it. Siegrist easily able to clutch that one under a bit of pressure there from Ross Tierney, but nothing too significant, and it's comfortable for the Celtic keeper, who then bowls it out over arm to this near side, the Celtic right, to Moy forward, but Lamy gets there first to Tierney. Goss back to Lamy, and then Goss once more in the halfway line. 20 to play, Motherwell 0, Celtic 3, as they look to ease their way into the League Cup semi-final. The draw will be made after the Rangers-Dundee game later this evening. You'll get all the news of that here on Sports Sound and also at our website later on. As Aberdeen and Partick Thistle prepare to kick off in a couple of minutes. That's an intriguing one up at Pittodrie, with Ian McCall's men going great guns in the Championship as they look to return to the top flight after an absence of a few years. Also, obviously, having gone down to League One for a season. Here's Penny for Motherwell, 25 yards from goal, trying to get away from a couple of Celtic players. He does that, but Hatate then comes in as the third player covering for Celtic and finds Abada. Abada throws himself to the ground. It will be a Motherwell throw-in though on the near side, about 10 yards inside the Celtic half, as the visitors prepare a couple more substitutions. And it will be James McCarthy, who's begun to see a bit more game time back in recent times and has started to look a bit more like the player we know he is.
Yeah, and listen, he needs games, that's for sure. I don't know whether he's had injuries and that's why he was out of things completely for a while there, but certainly he needs games, and getting them on the pitch, it's not easy for him because the type of players that's ahead of him, it's very difficult to replace them and get a run at games, so he's got to do getting off the bench.
McCarthy and also Dyson Maida have come on, and off have gone Rio Hatate. Who's the other player who went off there, Frankie? Did you notice it?
Moy.
Was it Moy? Yeah.
Moy.
Thanks, lads. Glad someone's on the ball.
I think there's a bit of management now from Celtic and their staff to kind of just manage the game, and with maybe a wee bit of obviously the weekend action coming up as well to kind of rotate their squads again. Yep,
Saturday lunchtime at Tynecastle, sticking fast for Celtic certainly at the moment. Here's Penny for Motherwell, left hand side, poor cross from him, behind for a goal kick. Motherwell 0, Celtic 3, 72.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and Celtic, I think James McCarthy will sit alongside Abelga in the middle of the pitch. He won't go forward too much, he'll try and get on the ball, while Maeda's going out on the left hand side, and Haksabanovic is the one that's playing almost in a number 10 position now, so it's kind of almost a 2 and a 1 higher up the pitch from Celtic.
I think was it against St Johnstone we saw him playing that 10 position pack, and I thought he was very good.
Yeah, no, and in fact it was kind of almost inside left. The way the Celtic line up normally is 1 holding and 2 push further forward, inside left, inside right position. But it looks like it's a wee bit more of a 2 and a 1 in this sort of formation here. But they can mix it around, and when they have the ball, there'll be players rotating and running into different positions.
Thanks,
I think that's a joy as a manager to have that rotation. You can, the front three, they can play anywhere, and to really kind of move players about, I think gives them a good opportunity and a good balance, and again to change up a bit.
Celtic just frustrating Motherwell by playing keep ball, albeit Jens has just presented it straight to Paul McGinn. And then it's knocked out by Cornelius to the left-hand side to Penny, just inside Celtic's half. Difficult for Motherwell now, David, because I mean the game is as good as gone, isn't it? But they clearly they can't give up, they can't stop. But ultimately they know it's going to be more or less certainly a fruitless task, regardless of what they do.
Yeah, I think that'll be more what they're looking for now, to kind of try and keep a bit of structure, keep a bit of shape, and don't lose any discipline. It's 3-0 the now. The last thing you want to do is to let the game get out of hand, and that's what they'll be looking for now. A bit of character to keep digging in when things aren't going against you. They made a few substitutions to try and freshen things up as well, so they'll be looking to kind of now just kind of stick with it and keep digging in when things aren't going your way, really.
Yeah, and not get frustrated. I've seen Kevin Van Veen there almost, the ball didn't come to him what he wanted, and then he's almost shaking his head and kicking the ground and so on, and that's what you don't want. You get back to full concentration.
Aberdeen against Partick Thistle is underway. As I say, we'll keep you up to date with anything of great note that goes on in that game as Cornelius tries to close down McCarthy, and he goes down inside the penalty area, and a few fans round about us claiming for a penalty, but it's more in hope than expectation as Celtic break down the other end. That attack is broken up, but Maida's won it back. Abada for the hat-trick! Off the post, Kyogo!
Offside.
Yeah.
Is he?
Celtic
no,
at 4.
I thought he might have been offside.
No, he's onside. And Abada denied by the inside of the post for his hat-trick, but there was Kyogo to tap into the empty net as the Motherwell fans begin to stream out of Fir Park. Their side are being well beaten in this second half. It's Motherwell 0, Celtic 4.
Two interesting situations there. One from Celtic in their own box, taking real risk. It was a risk and reward situation, almost passing it into a player who's marked, who's able then to play it around the corner, break the press, and then they're up the other side. And then Motherwell get caught on the ball when they try a similar situation, and Maeda wins it back and puts Abada into he just obviously knocked it past the goalkeeper, comes off the post, and Kyogo, who probably deserves a goal, with the amount of chances that he's had in this game.
Yeah, a bit of mix up at the back there, as I say. They're down one end, they're so comfortable on the ball and trusting each other, then they break away. They're almost keeping 4 up now, and that's kind of causing massive problems when Muller are trying to go and press, and falls to Kyogo, a couple of yards out, who taps in. I think they were asking for offside. It's hard to, you don't get a second view at it, but he was standing in the middle of the goal himself.
No, I don't think there was any hint of it actually being offside as it came back off the post as Abada hit it, and the Celtic fans thoroughly enjoying what they're seeing this evening as their side are romping into the League Cup semi-final. Kyogo's 8th goal of the season. He's the club's top scorer right now, his first in the League Cup, and they will join Kilmarnock in the draw for the last 4, which will be made later this evening after Rangers against Dundee. Will it be Rangers or Dundee? Will it be Aberdeen or Partick Thistle to join them? You'll find out by staying tuned to Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland Extra, on sounds, on digital, on 810 medium wave, and online. You'll not miss a thing if you stick with us here on BBC. Here's Motherwell looking for consolation. It's Goss trying to pick his way through a packed Celtic backline. The cross comes in from the right hand side from Shields. And the player goes down in there. It's Paul McGinn trying to worm his way through, but there really is no way through. And then Taylor tries to escape upfield. Cornelius brings him to the ground. It'll be a yellow card for the Motherwell substitute, and it will remain Motherwell 0, Celtic 4.
Yeah, a comprehensive victory for Celtic. They end up 4-0, and they've created all the chances in this game. Before they got their first goal, they had 4 very good chances. So they've created all the chances. I can't remember a real chance for Motherwell in the game. I haven't written anything down, David, have you?
No, I think just that first one we might have played on the left hand side, the one, as we say, Seagrass saved, that we think was probably going by, but a lot, I think, that what was done in the first half, and as we mentioned earlier, when you're working so hard and then it goes 1-2-0, it's difficult then to come back against a team like Celtic who will kind of punish you, you know, and it's a difficult one. Obviously, you go over planning a set up to kind of concede right after 4 half times is a massive blow, and to then kind of keep going for another half is difficult when it goes 2 and 3-0 up.
Greg Taylor is down after the challenge that led to the Cornelius yellow card, and he's just been helped to his feet by the Celtic physio. So Georgios Giacomakis went back to the dugout and taking his bib off. That would be ominous if you were to come on for the closing 11 minutes or so for Motherwell. But Taylor certainly is back on his feet, and the ball is moving once more as Juranovic drives forward. Abada, who moments ago passed up the opportunity to score his second hat-trick of the season, having got one on his first start of the campaign against Dundee United, just inches away from doing the same again against Motherwell. That Kyogo was the grateful beneficiary as it rebounded to him, and he tapped it into the net, and Giacomakis is going to come on as the ball's out for a throw-in just down in front of us, more or less on the halfway line for Juranovic, and it will be Sead Haksabanovic who will make way for Giacomakis. And back here, I don't think you said you didn't see the Hibs game, but this situation materialised for a few minutes at least on Saturday, where Giacomakis and Kyogo were actually on the park at the same time. Kyogo dropping into that 10 position. And it's a curious one. I know Ange Postecoglou told Martin Down, the reporter, the other day that he wouldn't tend to play them both at the same time because he wants to be able to swap them about, but it is intriguing, at least for a few minutes, to see how they both operate together.
Yeah, he will drop off and play, but he'll find himself in the box too. Don't worry about that. As soon as that ball goes wide, he will be getting himself into positions. Now you've got a centre half, you've got to deal with two, you know, and that's going to be the more difficult proposition for them. But yeah, no, he can play that position. He's happy to drop off. We've seen him in the first half where he dropped back into that position, got good possession, got his shot away, and he's comfortable enough. And I think the reason why you might not play the two of them together because you don't have many other options.
No, that's what he said. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Yeah.
And if one gets injured, then you're in trouble.
That's precisely his point. Yeah, that's why he said he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't play them from the start, certainly in the same team. But for the closing 10 minutes or so, they will be in the same side as a double change here for Motherwell. Their final change of the game, and it's Josh Morris and Barry Maguire who have come on for Connor Shields and Sean Goss for the closing 9 minutes or thereabouts, with Celtic leading by 4-0 and cruising to victory here at Fir Park. Motherwell certainly made a game of it first half, but there was that crucial, potentially pivotal moment, losing the goal just before half time, and from there on in Celtic have been extremely comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, when you're up against it, to give you something to hold on to, kind of, you know, gives you that edge and kind of gives you that wee 5%, 10% you might need. Always when you see the goal so late on, then it's hard to kind of get, you know, back in the game. You know, you're looking for a wee bit of change, a wee bit of reaction, which they kind of maybe got for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the first half. But again, Celtic have just been so clinical, and you know, they're bringing on again the strength and depth they've got. You know, they're strengthening yet again with the substitutions they've made.
Yeah, I just see Giacomakis has got down injured. He almost, I don't know where he got a knee in his back.
I think he did back here.
But certainly he's gone down. He wasn't able to, he had possession of the ball and he just sort of almost stopped and fell to his knees, and yeah,
it's a worry. He's been helped back, and did look to just be an impact injury, and hopefully for Celtic he should be able to just shrug that off. But it's a cold night, and having just come off the bench, he wouldn't be properly, or maybe 100% warmed up, and that could have been a sore one certainly, as Motherwell trying to play out from the back. We've got 7 minutes left at Fir Park. It's 4-0 Celtic, goalless still at Pittodrie between Aberdeen and Partick Thistle, and Rangers Dundee to come in 20 minutes. We'll bring you all the team news and so on at full time here, and you'll get reaction from the managers in this one, possibly at full time, but I guess at Ibrox might not be time to squeeze them in before kick-off. We'll do our best, but Motherwell player down now, and it's Kevin Van Veen. Looks like he's holding his face, is he?
I think
He's holding his arm.
His arm, is it?
He's gone into a kind of an awkward challenge. What I think it was Abelgard, and whether he's come down on his shoulder or his arm, but he's certainly in a bit of pain, and he's lying down on the pitch the moment the game stopped.
Yeah, well, Motherwell have no more substitutions to make, having committed all 5 already, and what they certainly don't want going forward, David, having already had their sort of forward options curtailed in recent weeks, is to lose the talismanic Kevin Van Veen, who's got 10 goals this season, including a hat-trick in the previous round against Cali Thistle, and they simply can't afford to lose him, can they?
No, again, even in this game, kind of going down to 10 men with the last 5-6 minutes remaining, it'll be difficult. Hopefully it's just kind of a knock and he's fell awkwardly, but with the tight squad and that they've got just now, I don't think they'll be wanting kind of any more injuries, especially with the couple of games coming up as well.
That win against Cali Thistle in the previous round is one of only 2 they've won at home this season, actually. The other was against Livingston in the league. They've lost here as well as tonight. They've lost to Sligo, St Johnstone, Hearts and Rangers, and drawn with Dundee United. That's form that you think needs to pick up if Motherwell are to have top 6 ambitions this season, as Kevin Van Veen very gingerly makes his way across to the touchline on the far side, and the Motherwell fans who remain inside Fir Park will hope that he can recover. But yes, he does look to be in considerable pain, holding almost the left elbow, maybe just a dead arm or something like that, which would be not too bad. It doesn't look like it's any more serious than that as he comes back on, and Motherwell have possession through McKinstry on the left hand side. Goes back the way to Mugabe. 5 minutes left. Motherwell 0, Celtic 4. Comfortable passage into the last 4 for Celtic this evening.
Yeah, David McKinstry is one of the young players come through.
Yeah, he came through. He was at the academy for many years, and then
decent.
He was really good. He was only in a few months full time, to be fair. Then he got his move to Leeds, and I think they really kicked on. He trained with Bales and that a few times. Spoke really highly of him, so it's good to get him. And he's direct. He's a great player, a great prospect, and hopefully he can kind of kickstart. I think that goal helped him the other week, but get him up to speed and up to pace. I think he's a good asset for us.
Yeah, it's a couple of starts in a row. His first league start, first start for the club against Rangers on Sunday, and starting again tonight, having come on as a sub in the previous 6. So he is beginning to establish himself, having come up on loan from Leeds. He made one league appearance down there against Spurs last November. A couple other appearances, but clearly it's difficult to force your way into the first team squad down there, but this will be doing him no harm whatsoever if you can get some good first team game time in the Premiership up here. The ball's out of play over on the far side. Maeda just making a mess of the pass there, and it will be a Motherwell throw in with just over 3 minutes left on the clock, and Motherwell will hope that Don Robertson doesn't see fit to add on too much in the way of stoppage time at the end of this one. Here they come down the right hand side, and it's Morris plays it off a Celtic foot, and it will be another throw in. Even a consolation at this stage would give Motherwell something to smile about on an evening that has been another harsh lesson for the opposition against Celtic, who are very capable of running away from pretty much anyone in the domestic game. Here's Yakimakis, who looks to have recovered and then barged off the ball there by Lamy. Physical challenge there from the centre back. Out of play though by Penny, and it will be a Celtic throw in the near side. 2.5 minutes left of the 90. Up to Yakimakis it goes. Back to Juranovic. Forward looking for a bad. I think he might have been offside, but the ball goes all the way through to Liam Kelly anyway, with Kyogo also giving chase. There's McCarthy. Back the way, Juranovic will scamper to try and keep that one in. Very pacey, and he manages with a good yard or two to spare. Gets it back to Siegrist, who clears first time from his 6-yard box. Picked up by Penny on the left hand side for Motherwell. Under pressure there from McCarthy. Still Penny going left hand side. Good ball line. Carter Vickers at his near post to clear behind for a corner, and that's all about desperation to keep the clean sheet back, isn't it?
Yeah,
and Postecoglou will love that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the defenders, if you get a group of defenders and a goalkeeper, well, two goalkeepers now with Siegrist and Joe Hart, but if they get a good combination, relationships going, and it's all about keeping the ball out of the net, and they build on that. I've seen it in the past, even teams that I've played with. You know, you really want, even if you're winning games 4 and 5, you have to get that clean sheet.
It's going to be the first in 7 or 8 as the ball comes into the penalty area, knocked away out to the right hand side. Back with Penny on the angle of the box on the right hand side, trying to find room for the shot. Gets it back instead to Cornelius on the right hand side. Celtic trying to close him down, laid back by Maguire for Penny. Penny gets the shot in, well taken by Siegrist. It was straight at him, but he held on to it well, the Swiss, and then he tries to clear. Ross Tierney impeded him. It'll be a free kick to Celtic on the edge of the box, and it remains with a few seconds of the 90 left. Motherwell 0, Celtic 4.
Yeah, it was a good strike from Penny, and again getting his body behind the ball and good safe hands. He'd be happy with that. Siegrist.
Even there, when you kind of collect it, you see the Celtic players again straight away. You know, 3, 4, 5 of them actually kind of sprinting away to try and, you know, get them releasing earlier. So I think again, it's probably earlier, the fitness levels and the intensity they play at, they've still got that at 89 minutes.
Yeah, just going. Willie Miller has news of an early goal at Pittodrie.
Got an early goal for the home side. It's Aberdeen that take the lead here. It's been a bright opening first 15 minutes or so here, and it's Duke again that finds the back of the net. He's set up by Coulson, who intercepts a pass, sets up Duke on the break with the left foot down the left hand side and clips it into the far corner of the net to give Aberdeen the lead here at Pittodrie.
Thanks, Willie. Good stuff. Duke on good goal scoring form in recent times. Celtic have a throw in, just 1 minute of stoppage time to be played. Mercifully for Motherwell, you would feel, as Maguire knocks it back to his goalkeeper. No need to prolong the agony, really, I suppose, with Celtic so far ahead in the game and already having booked their place long ago in the last 4. Here's Tierney, though, inside the penalty area, goes down under stiff challenges just inside the box, and Celtic again clear their lines. It's going to be a first clean sheet in 9 for Celtic, which is quite something, actually.
First in 9, I didn't realise that.
I mean, that includes, obviously, that includes Champions League and stuff like that, which we know is a different level. But nonetheless, obviously, a good number of domestic games in there as well. So that will be also pleasing for Ange Postecoglou, among many other things this evening. Not so much for Motherwell, who have gone out at the quarter-final stage to the holders, who will fancy their chances very much of retaining their trophy if they can continue to perform as they did this evening. It was Lee Labada who got the first couple of goals here either side of half-time, crucially just before half-time with a breakthrough as Greg Taylor took advantage of a perhaps lapse of concentration inside the Motherwell penalty area to square it for the Israeli, who tapped home to give his side the advantage. And then 11 minutes into the second period, after Liam Kelly had made a trio of decent stops, the ball fell to Abada just inside the penalty area, and he smashed it home to make it 2-0. Abada turned provider on the hour mark, squeezing the ball to Rio Hatate inside the 6-yard box, and the Japanese midfielder showed exquisite ball control to find room for the shot, getting away from a couple of Motherwell players inside the 6-yard box and placing it beyond Liam Kelly to make it 3 and putting the game completely out of sight for Motherwell. And then the icing and the cake for the Celtic fans watching here, it wasn't to be in terms of the hat-trick for Lee Labada, who raced through but hit the inside of the post with his shot, but there was Kyogo waiting and he tapped into the empty net to make the final score here. Motherwell 0, Celtic 4.
The Scottish League Cup.
This is the